From the Upco Studios in Oklahoma City, this is an OSU Update with Gina Mizell. I'm Jenni Carlson. Gina, tales from the recruiting trail. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. One of the things that people were curious about when Bill Young left Oklahoma State, sort of all the mess that came out of that, was would it have any effect on the recruiting trail? What are you hearing in terms of defensive players and how they're being impacted by Bill Young's departure?
So far, not really any impact at all, especially the defensive lineman, which is the position that Bill Young coached in addition to being the defensive coordinator. I mean, the Cowboys got a commitment last week in Tyus Bowser from Tyler, Texas. He's a teammate of Fred Ross, another Oklahoma State commitment. And I actually had a chance to talk to Vincent Taylor over the weekend, who's a defensive tackle commitment. And he said that Glenn Spencer was who actually was the hardest recruiting him. So I think the Cowboys in a way lucked out because Glenn Spencer, because there's so many linebackers already here at Oklahoma State, they're not going to sign one. So that kind of freed up Glenn Spencer to kind of maybe recruit some defensive linemen and some other defensive players. So far, so good. Again, no decommits after Bill Young's departure, and two of them are already signed. And again, they got another commitment in Bowser last week.
What's your feeling about how involved Bill Young was in recruiting? Because as we've sort of found out, sounds like his departure was set before the season started, kept quiet during the season. Was he kept off the recruiting trail? Did he go? What are you finding out about that?
Well, I think he was certainly on it. It's not that he was completely absent, because if he was completely absent, I think that would have, sent red flags, and we probably would have found out about it. But certainly, like I mentioned before, Glenn Spencer was more involved with more positions and more areas of the country. Again, we've talked about how big he is in the Southeast and in Georgia, and so that's kind of always been his area. But because he didn't need a linebacker in this class, he could kind of stretch out a little bit more. But certainly, Bill Young wasn't on the recruiting trail as much as some of the younger assistants, and so I think that helps having other defensive guys recruiting certain players. But so I think that, again, all of that kind of maybe benefited Oklahoma State in the recruiting trail, and that Bill Young's impact hasn't been quite as felt. And new defensive line coach Joe Bob Clements has been on the job now for a couple of weeks, and they had that big official visit weekend last weekend, and so he's gotten a chance now to kind of meet those new guys, kind of give his pitch, and kind of make sure that they're still good to go come signing day.
All right, signing day, February 6th, fast approaching. And be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.